Female voice, male voice, lolly voice, monster voice.
Parang nabulunan ako Okay, time check natin. Okay, 31 minutos pasado pa alas 7. Okay, programa natin sa gabi ito, no? Okay, panggabing programa po ng Consolidated News natin. Okay, magmula po sa center po ng pambalitaan po ng ADLSNTV News Online Corporation, mga suki, no? Okay. Okay, babati ako. Magandang gabi. Magandang gabi sa inyo. Okay, good evening. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, no? Sa international greeting natin. Okay. Ay, kumusta kayo? Okay, mga kababayan, no? Nandito naman tayo sa ating panggabing programa. Okay, sa halo-halo special opinion balita at iba pa. Kasama po serbisyo publiko tinig ng mamamayan at saka ugnayan sa mamamayan, mga kababayan, no? Okay, magsadaka muna ako, no? Okay, mag-donate ba? Hindi pamagitan po ng pera, no? Hindi lahat ng sadaka ay puro pera, mga suki. Kahit magandang salita ay sadaka yan sa kapwa, mga kababayan. Okay, magsadaka muna tayo. Okay, pakinggan natin kung anong sadaka natin. Okay, dito po sa programa natin Pambungad, mga kababayan, na. Ayan.
Muslims should know. Number 1, to advise for good. Number 2, to talk softly. Number 3, to forgive. Number 4, to give respect. Number 5, to be a part of someone's happiness. 5 types of sadaqah every Muslim should know. Number 1, to advise for good. Number 2, to talk softly. Number 3, to forgive. Number 4, to give respect. Number 5, to be a part of someone's happiness. 5 types of sadaqah every Muslim should know. Number 1, to advise for good. Number 2, to talk softly. Number 3, to forgive. Number 4, to give respect. Number 5, to be a part of someone's happiness. 5 types of sadaqah.
Okay, so limang word na paka-importante po. Hindi lahat ibang pang sadaka mo. Okay, pang sadaka mo ay pera, hindi po yung mga material things. Ito napakalang sadaka ito sa kapwa natin, na. Okay, para bilang mabuting tao po sa daigdig, mga kababayan, no? Okay, and then ang susunod na kuan natin, UNRWA, Independent Review Group on the Israel Palestinian Crisis, mga kababayan, no? Oh, dami pa lang empleyado po ng UN. Okay, nadali po dyan sa bakbakan ng mga magit 100 na. Okay, so after this, mga suki, mga kababayan. Okay, mabilisan kasi mabilis po kumain ng oras, no? Ayan. Okay, ito po ang latest po, ang report po ng UNRWA, UNRWA. Okay, pakinggan natin, no? Okay, yung mga namatay po sa bakbakan niyan, wala pong humpay, wala pong pigil. Okay, buhay po ang tao ay makuan po mga suki, no? Okay, nadali. Okay, na naging biktima po mga suki, no? Ayan, so pakinggan natin. Mahaba ba ito? Okay, hindi naman mahaba. 11 minutes at saka 49 segundo mga kababayan. Pero paulit ko lang ito, no? Ayan.
Thank you, Shannon. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm super delighted to be here in my new capacity of chair of the UNRWA Independent Review Group. And thank you for your interest in this. As you know, the UNRWA Independent Review intends to assess whether UNRWA is doing everything in its power to ensure neutrality and to respond to allegations of serious breaches when they are made. I had the opportunity to meet with the Secretary General just a short while ago to discuss the group's term of reference and see how the group can best deliver on its objective within the very short time frame of this mission, 2 months. You might have seen that. We already had some conversations with Mr. Guterres earlier, of course, earlier than today, but it was important and useful to meet with him today and talk extensively with him. As you know, the Secretary General announced this independent review group on the 5th of February, and the group includes 3 research organizations: the Raoul Wallenberg Institute of Sweden, the Christian Michelsen Institute in Norway, and the Danish Human Rights Institute of Denmark. We officially started our mission about a week ago on the 13th of February, so 1 day ahead of time, which is always good, by meeting at the United Nations in Geneva. And I had then a working session with the 3 teams of these 3 institutes Monday in Copenhagen. And some researchers of institutes are already deployed in the region. They are currently in Amman. We are expected to submit an interim report to the Secretary General by the end of March, or before the end of March, because it is March 20th, and the final report must be completed by the 20th of April this year. So it is a very short time frame. We do our best to reach the objective that we've been assigned, and the final report will be made public. I'd like to make very clear, even if you might have questions on that, I want to preempt the questions. The role of the review group is not to investigate on the allegations of the potential involvement of some UNRWA personnel in the October 7th attacks. This is done in parallel within the UN by the OIOS, so it is separate. What the independent review group will do is investigate, I repeat, how UNRWA works with neutrality, as it must. We will specifically clarify the mechanisms, the process in place, the structures, and see if they ensure neutrality as they should, to the best of the power within UNRWA. And we also will look at how they've been implemented, of course, in practice, not only their fit for purpose, but how they are implemented. We will also make, if necessary, recommendations as per the terms of reference. And my intention, I can tell you that my intention is indeed to make some recommendations. So I know there are a lot of expectations in this review. My goal is to deliver a report that is rigorous, evidence-based, and that would help UNRWA deliver on its mandate. And taking into account, in particular, the very difficult and quite unique situation it works currently and in a general context. As we know, for the past decades, it has been a very difficult task that has been assigned by the General Assembly to UNRWA. The context is even more difficult, but we do our best so we can help UNRWA deliver on this mandate given by the General Assembly. So that's it for me. I can take a couple of questions. Then I have to rush to a series of meetings, including quite soon. Up to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Colonna. Edith Lederer from the Associated Press.
Good to see you again, Matt.
Nice to see you. Two questions. First, can you tell us if you've spoken to the Israelis and have they promised to cooperate with your investigation? And secondly, what was the message that you received today from the Secretary General?
Thank you for those two questions. Of course, it would be useful. It is, in my view, absolutely necessary to meet with Israeli officials, as well as with the Palestinian authorities, and with as many as I can, member states, donors especially. So a request has been issued to meet with Israeli officials. I don't have an answer to that, but we just started a week ago, and I think I sent my letter of the note verbal the day before yesterday regarding Israel and the PA. I will use the opportunity of my presence in New York today and tomorrow, leaving Saturday, to meet some foreign ministers that will come to New York for different reasons, the Ukraine meeting with the Security Council. But I will liaise with as many member states as I can. Second, the message delivered to me today by the Secretary General is actually the message that he delivered to me, not today, but when he proposed me to take over this very sensitive and hopefully useful mission, that is to find the ways and means to see if UNRWA works within its power, and in that context that we all know does everything it can to ensure neutrality, which is one of the basic principles of the agencies, and a principle that's difficult to respect in the circumstances, but must be respected. So I see absolutely no other desire from the Secretary General but to go and ensure as much as we can, as much neutrality that can be reached within the context of today.
James Bailey from Al Jazeera. In terms of cooperation with the Israelis, you say you requested it, and yet the United Nations acted on Israeli allegations, and yet the UN says it's never seen the evidence that those allegations are based on. So should the Israelis not only be cooperating with you, but with the United Nations and the OIOS, and doesn't set a very good precedent for your inquiry that they're not actually providing the evidence to the United Nations? And even the US intelligence community has reported today that they cannot verify and haven't been given all the evidence. Is it not time for Israel to show all the relevant parties what they have so that the UN and the international community can get to the bottom of this?
If I may not correct you, maybe, but be precise in my thanks, I did not ask Israel for its cooperation. I'm positive, and I have no reason to believe that there would not be such cooperation. I asked Israel, I put forward a request for a meeting with the Israeli government. So let's assume that the cooperation will be there anyway, but my request is on the meeting, not on the cooperation. I'm not the best placed person to answer your question, because again, these allegations are not getting charged by the review group. They are the responsibility of OIOS, and so you should address your question to this section of the United Nations. I'm sure that they do hope to receive information, if not evidence, but this is their task. It's a separate issue.
Press questions.
I'm sorry, but I'm not the OIS. I will have to do maybe one last question because these French ladies have a privilege. I'm not representing France here. I was happy to do it in the past.
Oui, je sais. Anne-Carrie, notre Parlement, Radio France et Radio Suisse.
Yes.
Vous avez moins de 2 mois pour faire cette audit générale sur l'impact éventuellement qui aurait pu avoir si une loi était corrompue, avait été corrompue ou pressurisée. Est-ce que vous avez pour objectif d'aller sur place à Gaza ou comment concrètement en tout cas vous allez faire sinon ce rapport?
L'objectif, en effet, de cette mission importante et délicate, je le redis, qui nous a été confiée par le secrétaire général, est de permettre aux donateurs, aux plus grands d'entre eux, et en fait à tous, de retrouver, lorsqu'ils l'auraient perdu ou lorsqu'ils auraient des doutes, confiance dans la façon de fonctionner de l'UNRWA, de façon à permettre à l'UNRWA d'accomplir son mandat. Je pense en effet qu'il serait utile pour le groupe, au moins pour les chercheurs, peut-être pour la présidente aussi, je ne sais pas, de voir sur place à Gaza dans quel contexte se déroule ce mandat de l'UNRWA qui en est venu à devoir assurer un très grand nombre de services que personne d'autre qu'elle ne rend. Est-ce que ce sera possible? Je ne le sais pas encore, mais nous ferons cette demande. Je crois que ce serait utile de voir en effet comment les choses se passent en particulier en ce moment. Okay, thank you so much. No regrets.
OIS, will you be sharing information?
I'm sure we can talk, but this is separate. I want to be very clear that their mission is separate and my mission is not to investigate.
Be asking them for information about UNRWA.
No, not so far. I mean, we just have so I do not exclude that we have to talk, but this is not the plan. It's pretty separate mission. Merci beaucoup. They are currently in capacity to say yes to such a request. But I'm also thinking about some of our researchers. They're expensive, many of them have a UN pass, so the best place to do that. But I asked for it anyway. Thank you.
So, tapos. Okay? Tapos po mga kababayan, no? Okay, salamat. Okay. Sandali lang.
Female voice, male voice, lolly voice, monster voice.
Okay, ito muna. Okay. Okay, tungkol sa kwan din tayo, continue lang natin tong kurso po sa action po ng United Nations Security Council, no? Okay, full UN Security Council briefing on ending the war in Gaza by MSF. Anong MSF ito mga kababayan, no? Okay, pakinggan natin para maintindihan natin. Ang balita kasi sa maintindihan mo pag okay, makinig ka na. Ayan.
Trapped in Rafah. People violently forced to this strip of land in southern Gaza are bearing the brunt of Israel's military campaign. We live in fear of ground invasion. Our fears are rooted in experience. Just 48 hours ago, as a family sat around their kitchen table in a house sheltering MSF staff and their families in Khan Yunis, a 120mm tank shell exploded through the walls, igniting a fire and killing 2 and severely burning 6 others. 5 of the 6 injured were women and children. We took every precaution to protect the 64 humanitarian staff and family members from such an attack by notifying warring parties at the location and clearly marking the building with an MSF flag. Despite our precautions, our building was struck not only by a tank shell, but by intense gunfire. Some were trapped in the burning building, while active shooting delayed ambulances from reaching them. This morning, I am looking at photos that show the catastrophic extent of the damage, and I am watching videos of rescue teams removing charred bodies from the rubble. This is all too familiar. Israeli forces have attacked our convoys, detained our staff, bulldozed our vehicles, hospitals have been bombed and raided, and now, for a second time, one of our staff shelters has been hit. This pattern of attacks is either intentional or indicative of reckless incompetence. Our colleagues in Gaza are fearful that as I speak to you today, they will be punished tomorrow. Madam President, every day we are witnessing unimaginable horror. We, like so many, were horrified by Hamas's massacre in Israel on October the 7th, and we are horrified by Israel's response. We feel the anguish of those families. We feel the anguish of families whose loved ones were taken hostage on October the 7th. We feel the anguish of the families of those arbitrarily detained from Gaza and the West Bank. As humanitarians, we are appalled by violence against civilians. This death, destruction, and forced displacement are the results of military and political choices that blatantly disregard civilian lives. These choices could have been, and still can be, made very differently. For 138 days, we have witnessed the unimaginable suffering of the people of Gaza. For 138 days, we have done everything we can to enact a meaningful humanitarian response. For 138 days, we have watched the systematic obliteration of a health system we have supported for decades. We have watched our patients and our colleagues be killed and maimed. This situation is the culmination of a war Israel is waging on the entire population of the Gaza Strip, a war of collective punishment, a war without rules, a war at all costs. The laws and the principles we collectively depend on to enable humanitarian assistance are now eroded to the point of becoming meaningless. Madam President, the humanitarian response in Gaza today is an illusion, a convenient illusion that perpetuates a narrative that this war is being waged in line with international laws. Calls for humanitarian assistance have echoed across this chamber. Yet in Gaza, we have less and less every day. Less space, less medicine, less food, less water, less safety. We no longer speak of a humanitarian scale-up. We speak of how to survive even without the bare minimum. Today in Gaza, efforts to provide assistance are haphazard, opportunistic, and entirely inadequate. How can we deliver life-saving aid in an environment where the distinction between civilians and combatants is disregarded? How can we sustain any type of response when medical workers are being targeted, attacked, and vilified for assisting the wounded? Madam President,
Okay, pa-report muna natin si ano, no? Okay, Tarhat Abdul Karim, baka may importante siya. Ayan. Okay. Sige na, mag-intro ka na para diretso ka na.
Kuya,
Oo, maganda. Sige na, mag-intro ka na.
wala ako ng signal.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, maraming salamat so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sa lahat po ng mga susunod na talas-talas at ADLSNTV News Online, service sa publiko ng mga mamamayan. At sa ating ulat na sa ating area of responsibility, magkakaroon ko talaga ang committee. Ito ang ating nabasa sa isang kahunano dahil binigyan ko rin ni Vice President Sara Duterte ang mahal na sundalong NATO sa operasyon laban sa mga miyembro ng NATO groups sa muna Lanao del Norte. Ang kanilang kabalanihan ay nagulot ng kaligtasan para sa mga Pilipino hindi lamang sa Mindanao kundi sa buong bansa. Tandaan natin na ang terorismo ay sa tunay na banta at walang pumitiling biktima. Ang mga pangyayari tulad ng pagsabog sa Rojas, Sinay, mga kids sa Davao City ng 2016 at ang paglusot sa Marawi City ng 2017 ay ang konkretong halimbawa ng pangalit ng dala ng terorismo. Sa gitna ng mga pagsubok na ito, nakita ng mga Pilipino na hindi nila isusuko ang kanilang kalayaan, kapayapaan at kaunlaran. Bilang ng Mindanao at mga Pilipino mahalagang magkaisatanglo at magpakita ng pagmamalasak sa mga naulila ng mga sundalong tulpapan sa military program. Sa lulong ito sa pagbilang katapangan at pagmamahal sa mga Pilipino at sa ating bansa. At nagpasal para sakripisyo para sa ating bayan. Kung ating itatandaan, kahayag din ng First Infantry Division of Philippine Army kamakailan na 6 na military personnel mula sa 44th Infantry Battalion at nasa 3 na umanong miyembro ng party ang nasa wing. Ito ang itong mga taong kasalukuyan. Kaya naman ang nakikiraman ang si Vice President sa kanyang pamilya at tandaan sa ating kanina at banta ng terorismo at wala isang sinisiling biktima at pang-pangalatin natin ang pangalit ng pananghalat ng kabataan sa terorismo alat para dito. Binanggit din ni Vice President ang konkretong halimbawa ng nangyayang pagsabog dito lamang mismong pagsabog ng bomba sa Rojas Night Market. So, ito ay nangyari ng 2016 naman sa Davao City at ang pag-usap pa rin sa Marawi City ng 2017. Samantala sa iba pang ulat, nagbigay ng lecture ang naging na del Norte Police Provincial Office sa Panginoon Police Colonel Sultan Palma sa Pakay, lahat ng mga residente ng Bongo Island na noong Lunes, Febrero 19, 2024. Ang naturang lecture ay binahagi ng Igala del Norte Police Provincial Office ng mga informasyon tungkol sa masamang epekto ng illegal drugs, awareness, illegal fishing at kahalagahan ng pagpapanatili ng kalinisan at kapayapaan sa lugar. Kasama rin sa inisyatiba ng North Police Provincial Office ng Clean Up Drive upang mapanatili ang kalinisan ng mga kaligtasan. Naglagay rin sila ng kapulis sa isla ng Bongo na may nakasulat sa isla ng mahal ko, ang zero, para ipakita ang kanilang suporta sa kapwa laban sa basura. Inutusukan din ang National North Police Provincial Office ang mga legal na pamamaraan ng paninda. Nananawagan naman sa school at ng Papa sa mga residente ng Bongo Island na panatili na dinis ang kanilang isla. Iwasan ang droga, ilang sisig, at iba pang mga pinagbabawal na gawin. Sana maging maayos ang pagpapanatili ng katalitan at kaayusan ng Bongo Island sa tulong ng mga inisyatiba maging dalaw ng ating Police Provincial Office. At nagkaroon din ang medical outlet sa Bongo Island, no? At ang beneficiaryo sa beneficiaryo ng ang mga benepisyo ng nasabing medical outlet ay pitong barangay ang nakabenepisyo, no? Pitong barangay sa isla ng Bongo para magdaragal na. At isa sa mga libreng medical na ito ay ang mga sumusunod. Unang-una ay ang libreng konsultasyon, nagkakaroon ng libreng bonus ng ngipin, libreng gamot, libreng salamin sa mga senior citizens, meron din OB, Obgynecology, surgery, data, also, derma, reconstruction. Yan yung mga servisyo. Yan yung mga servisyo ng hatid ng libre medical sa Bongo Island at sa karating lugar. So, sa iba pang mga balita, barangay document tumanggap ng livelihood assets. So, pinapalakasan ang barangay document ang UNDP Philippines o UNDP United Nations Development Philippines ang pag-abot ng mga assets para sa kabuhayan sa isang matatag na pinabatasan. Ang barangay document PCON SPA, Special Geographical Areas, ay tumanggap ng malaking tulong sa pamamagitan ng mga livelihood assets mula sa UNDP Philippines. Kasama kasi sa seremonya, ito ay isagawa ng Miyerkules 21 ng Pebrero 2024. Mayroon pa sa barangay documental at sa documental makanggulat situation ang mga transportasyon, magbibigay sa kagamitan upang suportahan ang kanilang umuunlad na sitindad. So naman ang pinangyanahan ni Sir Edwin Parry, the DPP representative ng UNDP, ang mga livelihood assets sa kasama ang fish truck, dump trucks at ispisal ng mga kahon para sa pag-imbak ng mga isda. So pinakaloy sa barangay Magistrado Mantel, Mantil at Vice President Suat Mustafa, ng dati Mantil Makambuna Constitution. Ang malasakit na piling na ito ay lubang mga nagdadaol ng panglista ay may malaking patron sa kabuhayan ng barangay dati Mantil. Lubos na nagpahayag ng pasitulaman sa staff Mantil sa USCP sa pamamalangban sa kanilang patuloy na suporta mula ng maging bahagi sila ng SPA. Sa inisyatibang ito ay patunay na malaking epekto na magdudulot sa mga residente ng dati Mantil sa kawayan SPA. And samantala sa iba pang ulat, nagkaroon naman ng livelihood assets handover o sa pagtutuloy sa iba pang ulat, handover of the Sarah Powered Ice Block Nursing Facility ay na-turn over sa barangay dati Binastin, Ikayan, Tractor. Dito lang ng February 21, 2024, dito sa may special geographical areas. So, So, naging matagumpay ang pag-take over ng isang ice block making facility, ano? Sa may barangay dati binakit Victorian Center, Special Geographic Area. Ayun naman sa panayam sa barangay Chair ng Top Heads na Libo, ito ay malaking bagay, ang mga ganitong mga recruitment na hindi na makakatulong sa mga mangingisda. At hindi na sila mahirapan pang bumili sa ibang lugar at isa pa, mas pinakamura ito kung ituos na sa regional binibentang mga yelo or ice sa mga tindahan. At itong paggawa ng ice block ay inaabot lamang ito ng 4 na oras upang dito ay nabuo at dihamak na mas malaki at matagal itong natutunan. At pagkatapos ng paggawa nito ay ilalagay sa ice block upang mag-isip at hindi mabilis sa mamotet at may beneficial price pa ito. At ito ay hindi na nakakatulong sa ating mga mangingisda o fishers upang hindi na sila mahirapan, no? Kapag pag-preserve ng kanilang isda dahil ang limited itong ginagawa nilang ice block. Ano? So, sa 4 na oras, ay meron pa ng black ice or ice block sa kanilang lugar. No? So, yun sa up dahil napakalakas ang ulan dito sa Cotabato City ngayon. So, papayan na natin ano?
Ulan dyan sa Cotabato City? Ulan?
Yes, napakalakas pa ang ulan. Lakas ng ulan mula na pagkatapos ng ngayon ng buong ay biglang umulan ng malakas. At bumito naman ito sa director sa media. At ngayon naman sabi alas 7 ay hindi naman bumalik ang napakalakas na ulan. At hindi pa natin na-verify kung ano talaga itong bagyo na dumating dito dahil umulan dan mag-stop naman ito at bumabalikat. In fact, sa ibang lugar dito ay talagang dumaan tayo, no? Sa kanilang mga kalsada, sa ating mga pangulay ng sana, ngayon nagdaan na rin ito dahil sa lakas ng ulan mula kanina. Ang stop lang ito isang oras o 2 oras, then bumabalik ka naman sa napakalakas at ulan dito sa ating pinalalayan ngayon, pinaroroonan ko lang.
Okay, palipatin mo rito sa Zamboanga. Mainit dito sa Zamboanga, palipatin mo yung ulan na rito sa Zamboanga. Grabe.
Yeah, so dito rin kanina, before June April, ay napakainit ang sikat ng araw, no? And then, pagkatapos mag-pray, we're on the way kasi nagsasabi kami sa fitness. Nagpunta kami doon, meron pa tayong sinimara, no? Doon tayo nakapag na mag-Juma. So, after that, nang umuwi na tayo, ay bigla nang sumapal ang ulat at bumagsak ang napakalakas na ulan. Kasi sa pressure, ang nagsabaha din sa loob. At alam mo na kung ano naman yung pag nagsabaha. So, nanirapan yung ating mga nagtitinda doon, lalo sa mga small business. So, ayun. Medyo baka mag-insurance ko na ito, inshallah.
Sige. Wala nga kami ulan dito, napakainit. Salat lang ang tubig dito sa amin, sa Zamboanga City. Okay, schedule ang tubig namin. So, mabuti kayo, maraming tubig, maraming baha. Okay, so...
Alhamdulillah, dahil ang importante, itong ulan na ito ay makapagbibigyan ng benepisyo sa atin, like yung ulan, pwede tayo mag-ibak ng palinis sa COVID, lang sa drama, no? Lagi lang linisan, ano? So, sa ibang lugar na atin, hindi sa Saudi Arabia, talagang masaya sila pag may ulan, ano? Dahil minsan lang umuulan. Dahil sa ulan ay basta hindi ko nakakapisala. Ay malaking tulong ito, lalo na sa malalayo sa pagkuha ng pagmumula ng tubig. Dahil pwede ito inumin, ano? Pwede rin inumin, basta dumami ito sa proseso.
Sige, mag-extra ka na. Okay.
So, yan muna ang ulat mula dito sa lungsod ng Cotabato hanggang sa muli. Maraming sa ng katabata kasi kaya doon po yung para ADLSNTV News Online. Servisyo publiko, pinibang naman na yan. Magandang gabi.
Okay, salamat. Gandang gabi rin sa inyo dyan. Okay. Sige. Okay, pause muna and then ano pwede natin dagdag mga suki, no? Yung balita yun, idagdag natin. Okay, matapos yun. Okay. Time check natin ay 11 minutos pasado na po alas 8. Okay, mag-plugging muna ako ay ang balita ito ngayong gabi, brought to you by Mind the Global Food Lines Corporation. No? Ayan. So, ayan po. Okay, tagadala ng balita po, mga suki. No? Ayan. Okay. Ito muna.
Female voice, male voice, lolly voice, monster voice.
Okay, yan po ang balita natin sa gabing ito. Okay, napindot ko na ba ito? Ayan po mga suki, no? Ito. Okay, full UN Security Council briefing, pakinggan natin mga suki, no? Okay, pakinggan natin.
Attacks on healthcare or attacks on humanity. There is no health system to speak of left in Gaza. Israel's military has dismantled hospital after hospital. What remains is so little in the face of such carnage, it's preposterous. The excuse given is that medical facilities have been used for military purposes, yet we have seen no independently verified evidence of this. In exceptional circumstances where a hospital loses its protected status, any attack must follow the principles of proportionality and precaution. Instead of adhering to international law, we see the systematic disabling of hospitals. This has left the entire medical system Since October the 7th, we have been forced to evacuate 9 different health facilities. 1 week ago, Nazar Hospital was raided. Medical staff were forced to leave despite repeated assurances that they could stay and continue caring for patients. These indiscriminate attacks, as well as the types of weapons and munitions used in densely populated areas, have killed tens of thousands and maimed thousands more. Our patients have catastrophic injuries, amputations, crushed limbs, and severe burns. They need sophisticated care. They need long and intensive rehabilitation. Medics cannot treat these injuries on a battlefield or in the ashes of destroyed hospitals. There are not enough hospital beds, there are not enough medications, and not enough supplies. Surgeons have had no chance, surgeons have had no choice but to carry out amputations without anesthesia on children. Our surgeons are running out of basic gauze to stop their patients from bleeding. They use it once, squeeze out the blood, wash it, sterilize it, and reuse it for the next patient. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza has left pregnant women without medical care for months. Women in labor cannot reach functional delivery rooms. They are giving birth in plastic tents in public buildings. Medical teams have added a new acronym to their vocabulary: WCNSF. Wounded child, no surviving family. Children who do survive this war will not only bear the visible wounds of traumatic injuries, but the invisible ones too. Those of repeated displacement, constant fear, and witnessing family members literally dismembered before their eyes. These psychological injuries have led children as young as 5 to tell us that they would prefer to die. The dangers for medical staff are enormous. On a daily basis, we are making the choice to continue working despite the increasing risks. We are scared, our teams are beyond exhausted. Madam President, this must stop. We, along with the world, are closely watching how this Council and its members have approached the conflict in Gaza. Meeting after meeting, resolution after resolution, this body has failed to effectively address this conflict. We have watched members of this Council deliberate and delay while civilians die. We are appalled by the willingness of the United States to use its powers as a permanent Council member to obstruct efforts to adopt the most evident of resolutions, one demanding an immediate and sustained ceasefire. 3 times this Council has had an opportunity to vote for the ceasefire that is so desperately needed, and 3 times the United States has used its veto power, most recently this Tuesday. A new draft resolution by the United States ostensibly calls for a ceasefire. However, this is misleading at best. This Council should reject any resolution that further hampers humanitarian efforts on the ground and leads this Council to tacitly endorse the continued violence and mass atrocities in Gaza. The people of Gaza need a ceasefire not when practicable, but now. They need a sustained ceasefire, not a temporary period of calm. Anything short of this is gross negligence. The protection of civilians in Gaza cannot be contingent on resolutions from this Council which instrumentalize humanitarianism to blur political objectives. The protection of civilians, of civilian infrastructure, of health workers and health facilities falls first and foremost on the parties to the conflict. But it is also a collective responsibility, a responsibility which rests with this Council and its members as parties to the Geneva Conventions. The consequences of casting international humanitarian law to the winds will reverberate well beyond Gaza. It will be an enduring burden on our collective conscience. This is not just political inaction, it has become political complicity. 2 days ago, MSF staff and families were attacked and died in a place they were told would be protected. Today, our staff are back at work, risking.
Okay, wala nata, no? Okay, wala na. Ayan.
Their lives once
Meron pa
for their
kunti.
patients. What are you willing to risk? We demand the protections promised under international humanitarian law. We demand a ceasefire from both parties. We demand the space to turn the illusion of aid to meaningful assistance. What will you do to make this happen? Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, tapos na po mga kababayan. And then mag-break ako and then mag-public service ako mga kababayan, no? Okay, sandali yung break mo, pause muna ako. Okay, mag-public service muna ako. Good evening. Okay, pinadala sa ating messenger. Good evening, mga karancho. Uy, karancho, no? Okay, what? Anong intention? Induction of a new elected officer. When? February 24, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Where? Okay, Gazebo Rancho de Rio. Okay, subdivision. Gazebo raw. Okay, lahat po ay invited mga HOA. Anong HOA? HOA. Pwede po tayo mag-bring and share ng snacks. Okay, salo-salo habang nagkukwentuhan. Ito na ang way ng getting to know each other, mga kababayan. Maganda. Okay. Ayan. So, yan po ang public service natin sa gabing ito, no? Ulitin ko. Good evening, mga karancho. What? Febrero 24, 2024. Okay. Oras. Okay, 1:30 p.m. Where? Saan po? Gazebo Rancho del Rio Subdivision, no? Lahat po ay invited, mga HOA. Anong HOA? HOA. Pwede po tayo mag-bring and share ng snacks, salo-salo, habang nagkukwentuhan ito ng way ng getting to know each other, no? Okay. Lahat po ang subdivision po sa Rancho de Rio ay invited po rito, mga kababayan, no? Ayan. So, wala na tayong balita. Wala na. Okay, mga suki, mga kababayan, no? Ayan. Wala na. Okay, post muna, mga kababayan, no? Ayan. Okay. Sandali lang. Okay, itong si Kiboloy receive Senate subpoena mga kababayan, no? Pwede na po ay okay, pero magpadala lang ng abogado, no? Ay pwede po nga suki. Ay trabaho po yan ng abogado mga kababayan, no? Okay, basahin po natin ang balita ito. Ayan.
Female voice, male voice, lolly voice, monster voice.
Sige. Okay, para kay okay, ano ito? Under harassment ba si si Kiboloy? Ayan. Ito subpoena. Basahin ko lang yung subpoena, no? Okay, Republic of the Philippines, Congress of the Philippines, Senate. Okay, in the matters of a PS Resolution 884, okay, entitled Resolution Directing the Senate Committee on Women, Children's Family Relation, and Gender Equality to conduct an inquiry in and aid of legislation, okay, into the reported cases, maraming cases of large-scale human trafficking, rape, sexual abuse, and violence, and child abuse of the Kingdom of Jesus, Chris, okay, KOJC, under its leader, okay, Apollo Quiboloy, by Senator Risa Hontiveros, and a privileged speech on the reported cases of KOJC, leader of Apollo Quiboloy, delivered by Senator Risa Hontiveros on December 11, 23, mga kababayan na. Okay, subpoena and justification. Hindi ko nabasahin mga suki na. Okay, the subpoena issued by the Senate against the Kingdom of Jesus, Chris KOJC founding leader Apollo Quiboloy has been formally served. Okay, a photo shared with reporter by the office of this Senator Risa Hontiveros on Friday showed the subpoena was officially received by KOJC Council, okay, Attorney Marie Dina Tolentino on Thursday, February 22, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. So yan po ang okay, sinusubpoena po okay itong si Pastor Quiboloy mga suki, no? Okay, the subpoena and a testificandum was prepared on February 14 and was signed by Senate President Juan Miguel Mixubiri on February 19 pala. Hontiveros' office earlier said. Okay, subpoena was issued after Quiboloy skipped the hearing of the Senate Committee on Women, Children, Family Relation, and Gender Equality, which is proving okay, the alleged abuses being linked to KOJC. Quiboloy earlier said he would not submit himself to the Senate inquiry and would only face the allegation against him before the court, mga suki na. Ayan. Gusto po ni Quiboloy po sa korte, no? Not in the Senate House. So yun. So abogado na lang. Okay, abogado po mga suki, no? Gusto niya i-charge siya sa court, no? Rather than Senate. Okay, kasi ang televised, national television, okay, wala ka talaga kalaban-laban yun, no? Okay, basta sa Senate, okay, sa House of Representatives, okay, ay talagang wala kang kalaban-laban po. Pag dyan ka na. Okay. Hontiveros warned Kibuloy that he will be arrested if he fails to attend the next Senate hearing. The voice message posted on social media earlier this week, Kibuloy accused the United States government with the help of Philippine official of plotting to eliminate him, no? Okay, sinabi niya sa kanyang video po mga kababayan, no? Okay, ayaw na raw niyang pakita ng kanyang mukha mga suki, no? Ayan. Kasi ito na nga, may plotting with the involvement po ng CIA, Central Intelligence Agency at saka FBI. Naku. Ayan po ang kabigat po na ito mga suki, no? Okay, the controversial religious leader is facing a various cases in the US, including trafficking and a bulk cash smuggling, no? Okay, napakaraming pera kasi itong tao, itong mga suki, no? Ayan. Okay. House of Representatives has also issued a subpoena against Kibuloy, directing him to appear before the congressional inquiry into the call to revoke the franchise of a Swara Sub media corporation which operate some sign media network, okay, and international SMI. Okay, so he should not hide. Meanwhile, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian advised Kibuloy to face the Senate inquiry. He should not hide. Okay, nakita ko sa kanyang YouTube, statement ay nagtatago. Sino hindi magtatago po mga kababayan kung ang titira sa iyo CIA o kaya ay Federal Bureau of Investigation, no? Talagang todas ka mga kababayan, no? Okay, pag nagtago ang isang tao, sign of guilt. Yan eh. The best way is to respect the process. Pumunta siya, sagutin ang mga tanong he said. Okay, he should not hide. I saw in his YouTube statement that he is in hiding. Hiding is a sign of guilt. The best way to respect process, attending the hearing, and answer the question, no? Okay, yan din ay isang oportunidad para sa kanya na i-clear yung kanyang pangalan at magpapaliwanag niya sa katotohanan. Hindi lang naman ito ay accuser, but side niya rin para masagot niya ang inaakusa sa kanya, he added, no? Okay. Takot po, okay, si Kibuloy, baka, okay, mahuli siya ng CIA, mga subi. Ayan, this is an opportunity opportunity for him to clear his name and air his side of the history. Hearing are not meant to accuse her to say their side, but also of the accused, mga kababayan, na. Ayan. So, ang katanungan ko, mag-attend kayo ng hearing si Kibuloy o abogado lang? Ayan po, mga kababayan, no? Okay. Ang balita kasi minsan nakakatawa, no? Kahit seryoso ang usapan, ang balita po minsan nakatatawa, no? Okay, pag mga ganitong kaso. Ayan. Okay, so nasa kay kampo ng Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, mag-attend ba siya o hindi po mga suki, no? Nasa side niya yan. Okay. Okay, wala na tayong news. Overtime naman ng 6 na minuto sa mga suki, no? No, ito na. Ayan. Itong si Pastor Kibuloy kasi, kingmaker po, pwede po gumawa ng presidente, no? Okay. Pwede po gumawa ng senator. Pwede rin gumawa po ng mga kongresista. Itong si Pastor Kibuloy, mga suki. Sa kanyang malakas na impluensya mga kababayan, no? At saka yung kayamanan niya. Ayan. Sige. Okay, dito po nagtatapos ang programa natin sa gabing ito, sa programa Halo-Halo Special Weekend Program. Ayan. Halo-Halo Special Opinion Balita, di ba po, no? Okay, sa Consolidated News natin sa gabing ito. Okay, araw ng Biyernes. Okay, mga tagapakinig, no? Okay, sa platform lamang po ng ADLSNTV News Online. Okay, Corporation. At saka sa programa po ng Halo-Halo Special Opinion Balita, ito ba pa? Kasama po sa Serbisyo Publiko Tinig ng Mamamayan at saka ugnayan natin sa mamamayan ay walang puknat po mga kababayan. Ayan. So sige. Okay, paalam tayo. Okay, sa gabing ito. Okay, antabayanan po natin itong si Pastor Kibuloy, no? Okay, mag-attend ba o hindi po sa public hearing po, okay, diyan po sa Senado at saka mababang kapulungan po sa Kongreso, no? Ayan. Okay, pahinga ako bukas. Pero depende, kung may mga importante balita, magbalita. Pag wala naman, okay, bukas at saka Sabado, Linggo, pahinga. And then bubalik tayo po sa Lunes. Ayan po mga minamahal natin tagapakinig, na. Okay, kumusta kayo? Okay, maganda bang weekend nyo? Okay, kahit medyo walang pera, okay, kumusta na lang, no? Ayan. Kahit medyo taghirap, okay, itong first quarter, talagang salat ang pondo po ng natin. Okay. So, papasok ang Ramadan, ilang araw na lang. Okay, kailangan po mag-prepare tayo, no? Okay, para sa ating pag-ayuno. Okay, pag-perform ng Ramadan po, masuki, no? Okay, paano? Paalam na? Siyempre, paalam na po. Wala tayong masamang tinapay. Okay, kahit kanino man, lahat ay patas-patas ang pagtingin natin. Okay, sa kapwa mga suki, no? At saka hindi tayo mag-iwan po ng masamang tinapay sa kapwa, no? Okay. Kahit saan lupalop ng lugar na punta tayo, ay hindi tayo mag-iwan po ng masamang tinapay. Okay, paano? Okay, bye-bye na. This has been Abs naman lamang po, no? Okay, sa Monday ng umaga, inshallah, ay balik tayo sa programa. Okay.